Welcome back. Episode 133 of the Sabre Report podcast. My name is Jonah.
I'm Christian.
Welcome to well, I guess not welcome to September. We did a September episode, but welcome to hockey season. Training camp is open. If you're listening to this, most likely, unless you're one of the sickos that listens at even if you're a sicko, it's going to be Monday. It will be Monday, and that means that the Buffalo Sabres will be playing a hockey game when you're listening to this, most likely, or they've already played one. So we made it. We made it through the summer.
Yes, sir. Hide your loved ones, hide your children. The Buffalo Sabres are threatening to play hockey tomorrow. We are back. We are ready.
That's right. We're back in full swing. Training camp's open. Getting quotes from the players. We're getting lines. We're getting injury news. We're getting everything. We're getting a little
social
bit of
media
everything.
Stuff.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of everything heading into just this first week of training camp, and there'll be lots more on the way. But for this point, this will serve more as a preview of the preseason itself. Obviously, like we said, they play Monday, then Tuesday, as we lose JP again.
Oh my! Get this boy a new laptop. Good Lord!
Every time. If anybody's been keeping up with our Sabres versus the Atlantic series, which if you haven't, go catch up. We've been previewing the Sabres against each of their Atlantic Division foes heading into the new season once a week now, and we only got 2 episodes to go. But I think we've lost him in like 3 of the 5 episodes.
Yeah, it's been bad. I think we're gonna get to a point where we just see a full crash out. He's gonna break the laptop over his knee. He was sending us like new laptops after we lost him last episode.
Yeah, he just texted in our group chat right now. He says he's gonna lose his shit. So. Well, at least he got his name in.
I know.
At least he got his name in. He said hi to everybody.
It was the same thing last episode too. He said hi and then immediately just gone.
Just keeping up the attendance for now, making an appearance, getting out of there in a hurry. But I'm sure he'll try to come back in, and hopefully he'll stick around.
Yeah, this is a longer form episode, so
yeah,
I'm sure he'll be back at some point.
This is our first news dump episode in probably 2. Well, when did Byram get signed? I guess that was like a little over a month and a half ago, right? Wasn't it like early August ish? So yeah, we got lots to cover. If it's just me and Christian, that sucks, but so be it. We've done it before. We'll do it again.
The OG. We've been doing this for years. We'll press on.
Well, if we just kind of want to get right into things, we'll start where we always start. We'll start with the Prospects Challenge. Obviously, that being that's every year. It's the reintroduction to Sabres hockey. You get a look into a little bit look into the future of the prospect system and whatnot, and it's usually a good time. But didn't go so well this year. 0-3.
Didn't see any W's this year. Did not.
I think maybe 2016, if my memory is correct, they might have gone winless. But other than that, I think they've at least had 1 win every year, and I think usually they get 2 or 3. This was it was a tough weekend of hockey for the Prospects.
I believe JP has rejoined the meeting.
Hold on. Back.
Is he back on the pod?
Try to get a word in before they kicks you out again.
Yes, please, JP, get all your thoughts out right now before your computer. it's already flickering. JP, what did you think of the Prospects Challenge?
I think he's just behind. I think he's behind by a few seconds.
I think he might be behind. Or can he just not hear us? And he's gone again.
Oh my
No,
God, man.
I think he's done, man. I don't
That's
know.
tough. This is damn.
Well, I mean, going back to the prospects challenge, it was nice to see our first round pick this year kicked off the scoring for the Sabres in their first game in the tournament.
Yeah, yeah. It was at least that was probably the one thing that you could take away from the 3 games. I think you got the full Mertka experience. You got the
Mm-hmm.
good, you got the goal, the big hits. He was clearing the front of the net a lot. Like obviously he likes to play physical. He's a very large human being who can skate very well. But you also got the flip side of that. There was some defensive miscues, mishandling the puck, odd decision making. He's just when they made that pick, this is something that it's going to be a process. It's going to be a build up to what he is going to hopefully be someday. And for now, you're in the early stages. You're seeing the flashes, both good and bad.
Yes, this is definitely a project. This is a very raw talent. He's going to take time. He's not good. If I'm wrong, I'll eat my sneaker. But he's not going to be making the opening night lineup like Zach Benson did. He will be playing in. I think his ceiling is playing in the AHL this season. At some
Yeah,
point,
I don't think he can because of the CHL stuff or the WHL
right?
stuff.
Oh, I forgot how stupid that
I
stuff
think
is.
I don't yeah, but I think he needs another. I think another year in the W is just fine.
Oh no, I completely agree. I just remember all the stuff with Savoy and with Benson. It's
Yeah.
just, oh my god! Every time I hear about that league, I just roll my eyes because I just remember
Mm-hmm.
the headaches that everyone had to go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he'll be like I said, fun to get a really good look at him for the first time in Buffalo wearing a Sabres jersey, and hopefully this sets him up for a good season with Seattle in the WHL.
Mm-hmm.
There are look, it's a 3-game tournament, so you don't want to overreact. I know a lot of people did. It's funny. It is funny. It's a team like the Sabres that has been as bad as they are, and you always hear people boosting their prospect pool, usually for good reason. But even these days, I think most people recognize that their best prospect is probably Konsta Helenius and or Mertka now, and those are not exactly top 20 prospects in the league. But
Yeah,
you go 0-3, you're gonna with your prospects, you're probably gonna get some jabs from the fan base.
yeah.
Um,
It's kind of tough when you hit that point where you can't just fall back and say like we have the best prospect pool in the league. It's like those days are over, guys. It's like you got to start winning because if
mhm,
not, we're gonna be in another 2020 situation.
yeah, I it's tough because we all recognize the aura or I guess lack thereof surrounding the team right now, but it felt very different for our prospects challenge, just the overall I guess excitement for it. I mean, obviously, they didn't have good results, but Friday wasn't a packed rink. Saturday basically was, but it's a Saturday night. Fan Fest was that day. And then obviously Monday at 12 p.m. Like nobody's going to watch that. But it did feel kind of empty this year, and it did kind of probably one of the most forgettable challenges you'll see from them ever.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It definitely wasn't as full as I remember in years past, but you're correct. It's just that like allure, the mystique around the team really isn't there right now. I will say I feel like a lot of that has transferred over from our prospects into the NHL roster, but we just have not seen said results yet.
Yep. Yep. Uh, I guess surrounding the prospects themselves, I mean, like I said, 3-game tournament, you don't want to take too much away from it, good or bad. But I think one of the one of the stat lines that you definitely didn't want to see was Isak Rosen going pointless in those 3 games. I don't know what your kind of I don't know what your kind of take is on that. I mean, I feel how where I stand, where I feel like this is kind of the moment for him. Like if there's ever a lifeline, obviously, once we get to the NHL roster, we'll be talking more about that. But you know, not the greatest start to his training camp. For Isak Rosen.
No, and he's definitely he's in that position now where it's like it's now or never. Yeah, you want to see him on maybe not the opening night roster, but you want to see him play meaningful minutes in the league soon. I mean, for God's sakes, he was a first round pick for your team. And if he's just, continuously just a revolving door in the AHL and, getting a few games up and back, it doesn't look good. And other teams know that. And people who are saying like, well, we should just trade him now. He's got no value, guys. He's in his D4 year, D5.
Yeah, I think this is 5, right? Drafted in 21.
21, 22,
Yeah.
23, 24, 20. Yeah, so he's well out of the oven at this point.
You don't refer to them as D plus anymore. Now it's just you've reached I don't know, for lack of a better term, just you're kind of an unk prospect.
100%. Yeah, this is not Radim Murtka where it's like, putting him in the oven, let him, start cooking, see what comes out of it. It's like Isak Rosen's sitting on the counter, man. He's done. This is a finished product. And he needs to prove it now in the next few weeks in training camp. I would even go as far as say he has to have a solid training camp.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. 1 year ago this time, Yuri Kulik was playing in this tournament, and you look at him now, and doesn't exactly look like he's lining up to be that now. But for the better part of this summer, you thought he was going to be their first line center. But at last year's Prospects Challenge, he pretty much dominated. Like he looked a class above everybody else, and he produced as such. And with Rosen, you didn't get that this year. He didn't feel a tier above everybody else. So it's kind of it's not the most encouraging thing in the world. You hope that turns around this preseason and he puts in a good couple of games because I mean I am rooting for him. I much rather would like to see him get an actual shot with the roster with all these injuries piling up already and like getting an actual look as opposed to I went back and looked just out of curiosity. Rosen's first 15 games in the NHL, which he played obviously I think like 8 or 9 last year and then 6 or 7 the year before. He averaged 9 minutes 38 seconds over those 2 seasons, like less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think you got to give him
for context, Noah Östlund, when he got called up for his little stint at the end of last season, he was averaging like a full minute more. He was at like 10 minutes 30 seconds, and he was strictly, he was playing with Beck Malenstein and Sam Lafferty. Like he was on the fourth line, and he was getting like a little bit more trust there.
Yeah. So if you're the Buffalo Sabres and you are making these decisions, especially on a guy like Rosen who is in the situation he's in right now, if it doesn't work out and you continue to do what you've been doing, can you wholeheartedly say that you did enough and you gave this kid as much of an opportunity as you could have? Like, you should be playing him in bigger minutes. You should be. Sorry, JP just rejoined and he's vertical now, but at least he's back. Anyway, should you be playing him with in the top 6 a little bit more? Should you be giving him more minutes? And how much of a sample size should you give?
Yeah, I don't think you can say you've done as much as you could. I mean, we're talking about him having not the greatest prospect tournament. Now he's seemingly on the outside looking in once again. Like last year was the year. Your team, your season was over by December. You had plenty of injuries, and you kind of forget Isak Rosen was like in the AHL MVP conversation for the first 3-4 months of the season. Like the time was last year or the year before that to really give him that look, and they just never did. And now you're in the situation where you can't really entrust a third line role to him out of camp. Uh, even if he makes the roster, like yeah, he's probably in that Greenway role, getting limited ice time once again, and we're probably still doing this song and dance. So I don't know. It's tough. Um, I don't think they've done everything they could have to try and make something out of that, but it is also it's on Rosen, and this was always going to be the plan. He was never going to be a top 6 forward for the team. You just if he's given that opportunity, and whether that's in this preseason or should he somehow make the opening night roster or get called up at some point this season, it is a little bit on him as well to get going.
JP, you want to chime in on this?
You want to chime in on Rosen at all?
I don't think he's ever really been given a fair shot, and this is his last chance. I mean, I don't. This is last year under contract too. Like this is what is D+4 year.
Yeah, we were just saying D+. This is his 5th year. I mean, he's barely gotten any games, so his ELC has slid, I think, basically every year. So maybe I don't know. That's a good question whether or not his contract will be coming up or not.
Yeah, I mean, this is his last chance with Greenway out, but obviously he didn't even start the camp with the NHL roster, so it doesn't look like they're really even giving him a chance. They're instead put in Mason Geertsen. Is that his name?
I think it's Geertsen.
Yeah, they're putting him in that spot instead of Rosen. So I don't even think they're really too interested in giving him a chance.
Any other general thoughts on the prospects challenge?
Not really. I mean, it'd be nice to win at least one game, but is what it is.
Definitely is what it is.
Does anyone stand out to you during the tournament at all? Maybe like a sleeper?
No, I mean Oslin was kind of doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Funny thing about Oslin, I did actually look at this, because I was going down just out of curiosity, just the weights, the weight that each player had coming into this year, comparing that to last year. Compared to last year, Noah Oslin has gained 10 pounds. And because I thought he looked bigger out there. I didn't know if it was just because the Harbor Center camera is kind of closer to the ice. But yeah.
What he needed to do.
He's filled out a little bit. It's definitely, I mean, 10 pounds is no small, that's big in a year's time. A whole 10 pounds.
They say the camera adds 10 pounds. That's why when I show up to this podcast, it looks like I ate 5 cameras.
Yeah, that was encouraging to read. Other than that, I did think Hellenius had a really good. I won't say like, oh, he was amazing, but like he was really good. He had I think he had at least a breakaway in every game. I know he had a few 2-on-1s. He was super snake bitten and was just missing the net. And I thought he looked like Consta. I didn't have anything bad to say about him coming out of this. Kind of liked what I saw from Noah LeBurge, defenseman they took this year in the draft. For context, he had the assist on the Mertka goal, and which I think, as cool as it was, Mertka scored. He set the whole play up. He was super fun and active throughout the 3 games. I'm trying to think. Anybody else really stand out when I was watching?
Nuchev is back.
Yeah, it was
First
cool to
time
see.
playing in a long time.
Yeah, it was
Hmm.
Nuchev's first. The last game of the tourney was his first game since getting shoulder surgery back in March, and he looked pretty good. Had an assist, so that was cool to see. Last thing, they did not have a good weekend from their goaltenders, and they played three of them. You know, Lennon played night one. Then it was or no, Ratzlaff was night one, Lennon was night two, and then Malouche got game three. And the first game they lost 6-4. Night two was 4-2, and then the third game I think did they have like six put on them. So not the greatest weekend from their goaltending
Yeah,
as
very
well.
very high event weekend for the
Yeah,
for
they
the
were very
goaltenders.
they were definitely just you could probably gather that they were pretty sloppy defensively, played very loose, and they didn't get any really big saves to help them get back into the games. But yeah, other than that, that's a wrap on the 2025 Prospects Challenge. Not very notable, and a very Sabresy introduction to the to the new
Yeah.
season.
It will go down as one of the prospect challenges of all time.
Well, it's not easy for those guys to play through that when when their director of player development isn't there.
Why? Where is he?
Oh, around.
He's somewhere.
He had a higher BAC than his
Oh no.
NHL career points per game.
Oh my God. It's just it's like the circus, man. You turn to your left and there's a new show going on.
He had 3 children in the car with him.
I know.
Like,
What are you doing?
What are you doing? What are you
Oh
doing?
my God.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see who the Sabres put in that role. Sounded like they had a plan.
How much you want to bet they
how's-
don't fire him?
He's on leave right
No,
now.
he's on leave. Adams did talk about it in the presser. He was asked about it. He didn't say anything about the situation other than they're covering his role right now internally, but he wouldn't name any names. Just said they had a plan pretty much.
Which former bottom 6 player from the 2010s teams will step up to take the role?
Matt
That's the question.
D'Agostini.
Matt D'Agostini.
Coletta.
Coletta's
It
already.
might be Coletta. I was going to say he's already with him.
Yeah,
That's
isn't
what
he
I'm
with the
saying.
Junior Sabres right now?
Probably. They all are.
Yeah.
All right. Enough of that. Shall we get into the training camp?
Yes. Let's do it.
All right. Let's
do it.
let's do it. So, training camp opened on what was it? Tuesday. Wednesday was like all the physical stuff, and then obviously they took the ice Thursday. Well, we got to hear from the coach and the GM. Before I kind of go beat by beat here, any general takeaways from the two pressers, whether that be Adams or Ruff, that isn't injury related or anything like that?
I thought it was interesting that Lindy Ruff was as surprised as he was when he got here, knowing well, I'm paraphrasing, but what came up in the presser was Lindy was surprised that he thought that the players he had around him were better prepared than they were, and
He did a good job navigating that.
I get navigating it, but like we did this whole of course he's coming back. He's one of the most beloved. He's the most beloved coach in this organization's history. But we did a whole media tour with this guy about how he's gonna change the culture immediately. These players they were doing push-ups last training camp. It's like they made a big sting about that, and immediately you already knew. It's like, oh boy, this is not good. It's like, is it that bad?
I think his expectations were just higher for a bunch of players. I mean, I don't know which players immediately come to your mind. I think Quinn and Cousins, obviously, I feel like is involved in that group. Samuelson probably, since he was given an A last year, and obviously he had a interesting season. I even think like on the opposite end of that, I think Benson, like I think he had some like lower role starting the season last year, but then obviously he ended the season on the top line. So I think he's just saying, he had higher expectations for a bunch of players. They didn't meet them, and he understands where everybody is at now. So hopefully that actually translates to something. But I think he just for certain players, he thought they were going to be better, and they didn't work out in his system.
It just it baffles me that they say that they have all these internal conversations going on 24/7 throughout the season, throughout the off season, and the season was just in an absolute tailspin, and they weren't, nothing was changing. They weren't doing anything at all. They didn't. Did they make a roster move? What was the roster move they made? They brought Reimer back. Was that it?
Like,
Yeah,
I mean, they had a pretty big deadline.
No, before that, during the tailspin
I know,
section
during
of
the
the season.
tailspin, yes, notoriously, yes, they did nothing. Yeah, it wasn't. It was very, 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 very unacceptable behavior during a stretch like that.
But
I think
it just sounds like excuses to me, and I just
the interesting part of that to me is obviously like Lindy can have his own expectations for the players, but it's like the entire coaching staff already knew all of the players on the team. So you'd think like we would
right.
have general expectations for all these players. Lindy didn't hire anybody new. The only thing that happened was Seth Appert was, actually brought up to the NHL level. Like you would think the entire coaching staff as a group would have expectations that would be similar to what the player actually is. Unless it's a rookie who's going to exceed expectations, everybody else pretty much performed with standard that at least we knew. I mean, there were some players that maybe did a little worse, but it's like we all knew Cousins wasn't himself from a few years ago. Like Quinn was coming off an injury and he wasn't himself coming into training camp. It's nothing really surprised me that much last year where he's saying these statements.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, Cousins was the one that probably had to prove the most, and he obviously did not. I think Quinn. I think that's a little bit revisionist history on Quinn, just because like we all were very confident he was going to be fine. And it's not even that he only wasn't fine. He was arguably the worst player on the team.
That had 40 points.
He had 40 points. But, Lindy Ruff was throwing him on power play 1 at times last season. Samuelson was the one where it's like, all right, like, who sold you on this guy? Because you could have done the Ralph Kruger tour of going to Buffalo bars and gotten a more accurate description of who Samuelson is in relation to your team, and that probably would have sufficed better than talking to, I don't know, the scouting staff or maybe even the owner, whoever sold him on that. But I mean, yeah, it's when I said he navigated it well, he did a good way of saying like he didn't understand the players as much as like, oh yeah, I thought they were gonna be good, and they just straight up stunk all of last season. And yeah, Cousins, Quinn, and Samuelson, those guys were the big three. One got traded, and the other two were benched at multiple points last season. But even like lower the lineup, I mean, Aube-Kubel was like gone from the everyday lineup within a few weeks. Sam Lafferty lost his spot to friggin' Tyson Kozak by the end of like November. I mean, it was a lot of guys. It was a lot of guys that probably disappointed him. I think maybe biggest of all, and I know coaching doesn't really play into that, but their starting goaltender was pretty bad. I mean, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen lost his job to, I don't think James Reimer's retired yet, but he's basically retired. James Reimer. Like, that's all of that happened, and you can only imagine what that does to your perception, moving forward when you had a much different one heading in.
I think just for me, it's just it's the constant cycle of excuses from this regime that just really gets under my skin. I think I'm just at at my wit's end with it. You know, you hear the cliches come around training camp again. We got to be tougher. We got to be more physical. We got to do this, and this. And then none of that happens, and they do none of it to change it throughout the season. And don't get me wrong, like I love some of the moves they made this offseason. Do I think it's enough? I don't to be seen, but nah.
Is the optimistic summer of Christian over officially?
No, I'm optimistic in this roster. I just
Yeah,
if shit starts to fly sideways,
I'm
I
just
know.
yanking your chain.
I know, but if shit starts to fly sideways, like I'm going to Kevin Adams and the organization first. And that includes Lindy Ruff.
That's fair. I think Lindy also talked about, Norris stepping up and he's going to be a 200-foot player for him. So obviously they have big expectations for him. I mean, he started on the top line in training camp. He's with Tage and Benson. Kulik is starting on the second line, which I'm not sure I really agree with that, but I'm also not surprised since the 3 games that Norris did play here, he was with Tage.
Mm-hmm.
That's something interesting going into the season. I know what everyone thinks about Norris. I know how you guys feel about Norris.
I'm not as negative as Jonah. I'll tell you that.
Neither am I. And you know
I'm
what?
not
Like
negative.
okay, come on. I think there's a real chance for him to do something special here this year. He just needs to stay healthy. And according to what I've seen recently, this is the first offseason in 3 years he's gotten to have a full offseason of work, recovery, like normal. No injury, no rehab. So
Great.
We'll see.
He better be healthy. He's doing something he has not done in like 5 years, which is play first line center.
Well,
all right, we're jumping ahead. We're jumping the gun a bit. Anything else with the press conferences?
No, I just, it was a pretty standard Adams press conference. You heard the cliches and his normal. You ever notice every time there's a question asked, he always starts with, "Well, yeah, or something like that." I thought that was just something I noticed that was interesting.
Hey, the amount of times that we say filler words. I don't think we should be criticizing Kevin. But
fair enough.
Media training. We don't get media training.
True.
Well, that is true. This is all on our own.
Right there, like filler word.
See? Tough negotiations are still ongoing. I don't know. Nothing too crazy from Lindy's. The only other thing from Lindy's, it was I think it was his last question. He was asked about Benson. He was saying, how he had a great season, great playmaking, but that he's just got to finish. Like that he had so many opportunities and how his finishing just needs to get better. So, not to jump ahead again, but he wasn't on any of the power play units. He's not, I think that's probably one of the big reasons why. That's clearly where I think we all know that Benson needs to, put up some more points this year and really have that breakout year. But, the head coach is kind of calling him out to do that.
Use it as motivation.
Well, I had 2 things from the Ruff presser. The one I thought was interesting. They're going to do a little end of camp retreat. Team's going to get together. I guess Lindy did it in New Jersey, and they obviously couldn't do it last year because they were overseas. So thought that was fun. And they're going to do a little team bonding. Maybe a little go to the woods, turn off all the electronics for a weekend. Get Jack Quinn off all the dating apps. Bring the team together a little bit.
This weekend we lock up our geek bars at home.
Who are the guys? Oh man, what was that one? What was that one embedded? It was years ago. I think it was it Tage and Bryson? They were talking about. They were big into NFTs at the time. I remember Oak Post would just be like, I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. It's these guys.
And hey, Oposo was on the right side of that because most of the NFTs tanked. I don't think he does that anymore. crypto's still around, but
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. That's cool. I can't remember. I mean, well, no. Yeah, they've done it in the past, but it is cool that Lindy is organizing it. This could be a chance to really, build some team chemistry.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I guess that brings us kind of to the Adams presser, where like a lot of the injury stuff was laid out. Talks day to day for now. He'll probably be fine. Practiced normally yesterday, but didn't participate in the scrimmage. But I guess the big one is, well, not the big one, but I guess the big one for the player side of things. Jordan Greenway had a setback in his recovery, and he needed another surgery, and he's going to be ready closer to opening night. That's we're off and running with the Greenway stuff already.
Yep.
Now he's not even, they say ready to closer to opening night. Is he going to get a preseason game in? And if he doesn't, then he basically missed all of training camp. I mean, didn't miss. He'll be skating, but not the greatest sign for that.
Yeah, he's not gonna be ready for some time. Like obviously, like he might be in the lineup, but he's not gonna be himself for a while, not having regular training camp. So yeah, our depth is already being tested, and it's another injury
really
prone
not
guy.
much there given who's going in that spot, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. It's not a great sign from the guy you just paid. What is it, 4.5?
He's gonna be making 4. Was it 4.2? It's a lot. We had this conversation an episode or two ago. That's a lot for somebody that, I mean, you look at where Geertsen is lining up right now. It's the fourth line. It's $4 million, a lot of money for a fourth liner.
Yeah, that's for sure. Makes you think. I know Greenway he brings a role to this team, and he does an important job when he's healthy, but you got to stay healthy. It goes for a lot of guys on this team.
All right. Speaking of that, as for the big one, the big unexpected injury that is really going to have an interesting ripple effect. It's already had an interesting ripple effect because they've had to sign someone for insurance for this position. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is currently day-to-day, as Kevin Adams put it, the imaging is clean, but they don't have like a timeline for it. It's apparently he tweaked something, and it's only a type of pain that he feels when he's in like a certain position, when he's
he's doing his job.
Yeah, when he's playing goalie, probably bending a lot of the joints and moving around.
I think he said it's when he's like pushing off the posts, in particular.
I think he said it's like because he's fine in the weight room and everything. It's a very, very weird injury that you probably can't really classify as more than like, I don't know, like muscle tightness or whatever, or maybe like a soft sprain. But they don't have, like I said, like he could be, Adams said on Wednesday, I think that was when he spoke, that like he could have practiced like by the end of the week. That did not happen. He has not practiced at all. It's not a great,
folks. He's not day to day. He's not.
Yeah, but it's like you can't say week to week because it really is something like I've had those types of things before. Like it's a really minor thing that only hurts you at a specific point, but it just like is a bitch when it comes to going away.
Yeah,
it's probably something where if we were towards the end of the season, he's playing through it, but in training camp, it's not worth the push.
I guess. Well, we got our insurance on the roster. Alexander.
Speaking of that insurance, so the what preceded us finding out about this injury, or at least hearing more than just kind of speculation about it, the Sabres went out and signed a goaltender. Who was that goaltender, you might ask? Well, it was Alexander Georgiev. Sabres signed him to a 1-year, $825K deal.
The Bulgarian beast.
Is that what they call him?
I don't know. I just made it up. I knew he was Bulgarian, though.
Oh, we'll put a pin in that. Maybe when he's not Forgiev, he's that.
Yeah, when he's when he's locked in, that's what we can call him.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, everybody makes their jokes because as a starting goaltender, that was something that he should not have been in position to do. Starting meaningful games for a team like the Colorado Avalanche, and then last year he got traded to San Jose, didn't do too well. This is right now. Georgiev is when Luukkonen's healthy, he's your 3 goalie probably, which is still interesting because he probably ranks above Devin Levi right now. I mean, Friedman said on 32 Thoughts what he thought was interesting, and it's more in relation to the Luukkonen side of things. But he thought it was really interesting. They didn't sign him for $775, which is league mint. They gave him that extra $50K to ensure that he would sign with the Sabres. So it makes you think that they think this Luukkonen thing could as of now it's fine, but there could come a point where it's not fine, and they need insurance beyond Alex Lyon and Devin Levi.
So is a healthy Alex Lyon, our opening night goaltender?
I would think, barring Georgiev going off in preseason games, probably yeah. And which I would not, freak out about that. Alex Lyon has he's kind of been a 1B goaltender the last few years. I think he probably shouldn't be a 1B, but it's something he can do it over a short span. It's why they signed him. It's a really, it was a good signing by the Sabres to go out and get Alex Lyon. He has proven he can take over the net, as a starter for short periods of time. He ended the Sabres season a few years ago doing that very thing. I don't think it's the end of the world, but, if we're talking, if this is something that just won't go away from Luukkonen and he needs some sort of procedure done at some point, then we are probably, hitting the panic button.
Are we, though?
Some of us will be.
Let me throw a little wrench into this right here.
Some of us will be. Some of us will not.
He's had one good season out of the last 3-ish years.
It's a really good season.
It was a fantastic season, and you know what? I did so much apologizing that season.
No, you didn't.
I really did.
No, you did.
Yes,
not.
I did. Pull up the tape.
You tweeted once.
Okay, so much. I apologized. I did. Here's the thing. It has been about 2 calendar years since we've seen that Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in his form. We've seen brief flashes of it, but we haven't seen him repeat what he did at that point. I'm just speculating on sample size here. Do you think it's more likely that was a voodoo goalie year where he was playing out of his mind? And this Luukkonen we see now in front of us, these last couple of years, is the Luukkonen that is the one we're going to see?
I'll defer to JP.
I don't think he's ever going to have another season like that. I think you're just hoping for a little bit under that. Yeah, I hope you're probably just hoping for an average starting goaltender, but obviously he's been very, very streaky since that season. So I don't know. I think you still got to take your chance with the UPL being your starter over any of the other 3 guys would be up for consideration. Lyon, I'm perfectly open to him being the starter, if UPL needs to get healthy, but I don't want to go the full season with him as the one. I would still have more confidence with UPL if he's healthy.
It's
and don't forget, we just got so much better at defense this offseason, so our goaltenders are going to look so much better.
Yeah,
We added 2 guys.
that was like that probably was the one theme of Adams and Ruff's press conferences is they think that they I seriously think the plan is that, yes, they think they can replace the goals of somebody like JJ Peterka with, with Kesselring, with Josh Doan, but I think more specifically with Jack Quinn, which is okay.
And
If that's your plan, okay.
Norris, who was hurt.
And I know off-season edition.
Yep.
They think they can replace those goals, but I think more specifically they think they can just have the other teams score less, and that'll be a recipe for success. Which I just think is, look, man, you didn't get a defensive defenseman in this like Kesselring. I think is going to be great. He's supposed to be an asset in your offense. It's like. Like when you traded for Bowen Byram, your defense got better, but your defense did not get better.
The only player they added this offseason that has a good two-way game, good at defense is Doan. Like even Timmins, I think he's more of an offensive guy too. Like Doan is really the only guy, and he's going to be probably a third liner for us. So
he is someone.
I hope everybody plays better defense. They have a better system, but like we didn't make any additions that are just going to come in and change the defensive system.
I will say, I think what I'm most excited about for the season is to watch how Josh Doan operates in this lineup. Going back to talking about press conferences, he had a player press conference that I was very impressed with. He sounds like. And I could tell he definitely gets a lot of that from his father, that leadership mentality. I think he presents himself very well. I think he's very strong. I think he could become a very strong voice in this locker room. And I think he could back that up by what he's going to bring onto the ice in his two-way game, his offensive abilities and his defensive abilities. I'm very excited for him. Yeah, I'm very excited to watch him.
Yeah, I am as well. I think JP, is definitely right. Like the numbers last year in the defensive zone were great. Doan is like a really, he's a reliable player, and they didn't get enough reliable players back, or not back, but just they didn't add enough to where I think that thinking can be, fully implemented. Now, I will say, like Norris is definitely one of those guys. One of the reasons they chose him was he is a good two-way forward, and that's something they did not have with Cousins, and they always wanted to have with Cousins, and just were never to pull that out of him. That's basically it. You got Doan, you got Norris, who have shown that they can be defensively competent players. Michael Kesselring's not a black hole defensively. Connor Timmins isn't a black hole defensively, but it's a very flawed thinking, in my opinion.
I think they're hoping with Kesselring that maybe since Power will finally have some stability with him, assuming they work out, that both of them, that second pair will be better defensively because it's not a revolving door as the fourth guy.
Sure, I think
he can't be worse than Yoki Haru. So
the power Yoki pair will be talked around campfire stories for years to come.
I think the biggest step, like if this team is going to be much better defensively, I do think it kind of rests on Owen Power, like taking a step in that direction. Like if they have, like when Rasmus Dahlin is out there, they are pretty good defensive team because he is that good. And if Power can get to like half of that, and for 40 minutes a night you have two-way forces out there, then you might get to see those results. But, that remains to be seen. And, if you're just talking complete goals, I mean, if Luukkonen's out, long term, and your plan is Alex Lyon and Alex Georgiev, it's a recipe. I won't say for disaster, but it could end in disaster.
I want to throw Jack Quinn's name in there too, because in his big year where we barely missed the playoffs, he had very, correct me if I'm wrong, he had very good defensive numbers, and obviously since then that has dropped. So if he can get back to his peak play, and that will help even more, especially if he's playing top 6 minutes.
I feel like I'm starting to think back about the conversations we had around this time last year. A lot of ifs, a lot of hoping, a lot of this and this. Which of course you have some of that with every team, but when you're this organization and you tend to do that most years, what did Jason Zucker say about hoping? What was I can't remember what the
I believe
the
he just said it
quote
was a shit plan.
Beautifully
Simple,
said.
very
Beautifully said.
Shakespeare
Why doesn't he have an A?
himself could not have written that.
He should be an assistant captain. But
Surprised nobody's thrown that on a T-shirt.
hey, we should make that T-shirt, man.
All right. Why don't we just get into what, the more exciting part of all this is, everybody's on the ice again. We're all together, and we get to see some early preseason line combinations. So we'll start with the defensive side of things because, what you have projected is what Lindy Ruff is thinking as of now. Byram is with Dahlin, Power is with Kesselring, and Samuelson is with Timmins. And then your fourth pair is Bryson and Zach Jones. So that really the only interesting thing to see with the defense is, definitely it's to see how Power and Kesselring will jive together. But other than that, it's basically just the seventh defenseman battle, which I do think is a battle. Bryson or Jones making the roster will be something to watch. On the forward side of things, so this is where there's a lot to pull from this. Your top line, as of right now, is Zach Benson, Josh Norris, and Tage Thompson. It seems as if they are going to make this Josh Norris thing work. They are going to try their absolute hardest, at least at the start. We'll see how things progress, but they want him to be that guy.
All right, let's see what happens. Let's go. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's roll the dice on this. Oh man, I just really hope he stays healthy. That's the big thing for me, And I hope he, is a good player.
They said that at the deadline when we got him, that it was going to be Tage and Josh. They talked about it. They released a video clip when they had that one goal together. So I guess it's really not surprising.
That was playing in Sabres HQ just on loop all offseason. All the monitors.
You see this?
This is the vision right here.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess it's really not surprising. Like the Kulik, Tage, and Benson line did work. But I don't know if you want to go into the season with Kulik as your top center. Like Josh Norris probably does fit that role better right now. So I hope it works out. I'm not surprised at all. Like Benson's gonna have to do a lot of the playmaking work on that line, but I don't know if you can even say that Kulik is so much better than Norris anyway. So I'm not surprised.
I think there's a lot of
playmaker, but
there's a lot of unproven ability there. I think that's the thing.
It's not we're going. These lines are not. It goes without saying. These lines are not going to stick together all 82 games. Like I don't think that's. I think I remember Mike Babcock did that with when the Leafs, when they made the playoffs, in 16-17 for the first time. I remember he annoyingly kept. Was it Matthews, Nylander, and Hyman together? That line was there first night of training camp, stuck through to Game 6 against Washington. You're not going to see that. You're not going to see that, and you're going to see Kulik back with those two at some point, most likely. It doesn't hurt to know that is a combination that works. But like I said, they clearly are going to try to make this work. And they're willing to go with and Tage Thompson's back on the wing again, which is something that Ruff did talk about in the presser. I think he was asked about it, and he said he's going to start at wing. It doesn't matter where Tage, doesn't matter to Tage where he plays. I think Ruff even said he's more productive at wing, which I don't know if that's true, but okay. Like it's very obvious. It's better obvious. Lindy Ruff likes him better on the wing. You better hope Josh Norris is a first line center or like pretty close to it, because otherwise, like this entire core falls.
What'd you say right there,
apart.
Jonah? What was that word? Hope.
Hope. There we go.
The shit strategy we were talking about.
Should we like to start making like start dinging ourselves every time we use that word?
Like a hope counter.
Yeah, just try to like keep, just kind of like
this
keep
podcast is basically what if analysis. You just rebrand this thing to the what if analysis podcast.
Yeah, just every time there's a hope drop, you just get just every time like you used it again.
What's the other saying? If there's hope, there's delusion. Oh,
Yes,
if there's
when
delusion,
there is
there's
delusion, there is where there is delusion, there is hope. That's the one.
Man.
Yeah. I will say I am like excited to see the combo just over a larger sample size, because like when we got half a game of these three together, and Josh Norris did score in that game, but we only got half a game. You know, the other two games Norris played, it was Norris Tage alongside Peterka, and I completely hated the way that looked. You just have three shooters. I think Benson is a much better fit to help those two. And if you remember, one of my main criticisms was how, you know, the Sabres, they basically have two main goal scorers on the roster, or you're projecting them to have. So you have Tage Thompson, you have Josh Norris. You've only got one like pure above average playmaker, and that's Zach Benson. Well, you might as well throw those two with him and see if it works. So I don't hate it from that perspective. I'm excited to see how it looks in the preseason.
Me too. A lot of different combos being thrown around. You know, we've seen a lot of different things. I'm sure they'll be shuffled a bunch of times, and we'll see how the chemistry meshes. But tomorrow? We're coming up.
Yeah,
coming up on
possibly tomorrow. Probably more likely to be Tuesday. Yeah. Moving on to the middle six. This is where things get a bit more interesting. We're seeing some combos we haven't seen before. Or more specifically, one. Their second line at these skates is a trio of Jack Quinn on the left, Yuri Kulik in the middle, and Josh Doan on the right. Very interesting combination.
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't that with Tuck being not practicing though?
Well, here's the interesting
Like you would
thing.
imagine Tuck goes into Doan's role.
I don't think so. Because here's what I'm thinking. I think, because here's your third line. Right now it's Zucker, and it's McLeod, and it's Danforth. Was the second line in game 82 last year not just Zucker, McLeod, and Tuck?
Pretty much.
Yes,
I mean,
you
I
might
guess
be
you could.
right.
I guess you could. I guess just in.
I think your second line opening night might be Zucker, McLeod, and Tuck.
I know. I was gonna say you might as well just Paul Hamilton this thing. You just don't have any.
You don't number the lines.
You don't number the lines. You just flip them around. Someone else did that. We don't talk about that guy.
I guess if that's your, yeah, I could see that. I see where you're coming from.
I do. I like the idea of Quinn, Kulik, and Doan. If
I
the
think it's a
chemistry
fun
works,
line.
I think Kulik
That
and
is a
Doan.
fun third line.
I think Kulik and Doan is like a match that is going to work. I think Quinn is definitely the X factor there that can really elevate them to like possible 2B line, but I like the idea of them going out there against other teams' third lines. I think it could really work well.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting just combination of. It's an interesting combination of skill sets, and I think hell yeah, Ryan McLeod, man, second line center. Let's ride, dude. Let's do it. Let's help.
He's so ready for this. He's so ready for this.
Like, I know last season was like it might be his career season, but like, is it crazy to say like he could be a 2C in the league? Like,
that's not ridiculous. That's not
I don't
ridiculous
think it's
to say that.
crazy. I would tag him with the title of top 6 forward. I think he's a top 6 forward. I don't know if he's a 2C, but like if you were to stack the Sabres top 6, let's say you kept the first line the same. If your second line was Kulik, McLeod, and Tuck, like, I don't know. I think that's a solid second line. I don't think that's too bad. Just my take. I don't know. It's not the greatest second line in the world, but I don't think it's gonna kill them. It's reliable. McLeod and Tuck. It's a duo that's killed teams.
It's a good 200-foot line, well, at least with those two. I mean,
yeah.
Zucker's kind of just there, but Tuck and McLeod, I think, are a good combo. Both fast, both good defensively, both bring especially Tuck obviously brings a lot more the offensive touch, but McLeod definitely showed that last year. So I do think those two are a good combo.
And those are your PK guys.
Yeah, that too.
Well, I think what's interesting is if Tuck goes where Danforth is and you just slide Danforth down to the fourth line, your top 3 lines all kind of have that, I guess, for lack of a better term, they've got that dog on their line. You've got Zach Benson on your top line. You've got Alex Tuck on your second line, and you got Josh Doan on your third line. And it's not. I kind of like the idea of it. Kind of like that idea of just attaching. If I remember, Lindy Ruff said, was it last year, that he thinks of this team in duos. Yes. I think your one duo might be Benson and Tage, and the other might be McLeod and Tuck, and then maybe your new one is Kulik and Doan. Like, those two just stick together, and then you shuffle Quinn, Zucker, and Norris, to how you see them fit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll see. Don't hate the idea. So then we get to the fourth line. With Greenway out, definitely an interesting wrinkle thrown in here. Beck Malenstein on the right side, Peyton Krebs in the middle, and Mason Geertsen. I didn't check how to pronounce it. I think it's Geertsen. Your fourth line left winger, practicing with the NHL group, and Lindy Ruff bringing him up unprompted in his press conference. I think this guy's gonna make the opening night roster if Jordan Greenway's...
Where did this guy come from? I feel like I haven't...
He hasn't played an NHL hockey game since the 21-22 season in New Jersey with Lindy Ruff. He played, I think, 21. Okay. I think he played 20, but he played 21 games there that season.
He's not going to be in. He'll make that opening night. He'll be with the team, but he's not going to be an every night player.
No, I don't. I trust Ruff. I think Ruff knows what he is, but I also think he knows what he is. I mean, this is. I think he's here to do one thing. I think Lindy Ruff even gave him the title of enforcer. He's had 300 penalty minutes combined the last 3 seasons in the NHL. He's here to fight. He's here to kind of be that, the Sabres don't have an enforcer, whether you think that's a good, whether you think it's good or bad, they haven't given a roster spot to an enforcer type player. Objectively, they'd have not had that type of player. And if Greenway goes down, this is what he's going to do. He's going to play 6-7 minutes a night and fight people if something dumb on the ice happens.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. They're not gonna have a repeat of last season with what happened with Tage, that situation, and the Paterka situation. I think that's another big point of this offseason is that they're not going to be that team going forward. I will believe it when I see it. Don't you worry. I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. But if this guy is going to be playing on the team, Mr. 300 penalty minutes, you know
It's a
what he's
great
here
story
for.
for him. I think
Of course.
he overcame, was it a form of lymphoma a few years ago? It's a really good story for him, getting an NHL job. Hasn't played, obviously, in 3 years in the league, in the NHL. So that's, it's a good story, good guy to root for. Yeah, he was from the AHL November of last year. He announced he was currently in remission of a diagnosis of B-cell non-Hodgkin lymphoma. So awesome story for him. Really cool story. I think he won an award last year for that as well. Like awesome perseverance story. Good dude to root for. It's just
Didn't he play some defense last year too?
He only played defense last year, I believe.
God.
Yeah. So, and here's my thinking. So, mostly an AHL guy, fights, plays forward in defense. I believe we have our Matt Rempe, and I can't wait until they fight on opening night.
Oh my God. It's a battle of the heavyweights right off the bat.
I always
calling that one in. He's like, we got to get the ratings up.
Sometimes I bring up my buddy Matt on here, who's a big Devils fan, and I didn't tell him. I really didn't want to say like, "Hey, dude, like, what's the story on this Geertsen guy?" Because like I knew the answer is he was probably gonna be like, "He's just an AHL guy," so I didn't talk to him at all about this whole situation. And he just yesterday he sent me the link to the article about him, like having a chance at the opening night roster, and just sent like 5 crying of laughter emojis. That was it. I was like, I was really hoping you didn't see this.
Yeah. I'm gonna reserve judgment on him right now. I don't know much about him other than he's a fighter. I think the bigger talking point for me for this fourth line is that Kozak is with the AHL roster instead of the NHL roster. Like, how is Kozak not automatically put into that spot with how well he played last year? I mean, I'll throw Rosen into that too. Like, why would you not at least give him a chance with the NHL roster? But he's probably more of a third liner anyway. Like, Rosen's not that fourth line guy, but Kozak, I'm not sure what he has to do to earn that role back, other than he got hurt last year. Like, that surprises me a lot.
Well, I think being, he's still considered a rookie. He only played 21 games last year, which is kind of crazy to think about. It felt like he was here for a long time, but I think there's that. He's not what Geertsen is. That's for sure. I think I'm trying to think. Who else was there? Did they only have 12 forwards in the NHL group? Like, is anybody else lining up to be? I don't think anybody else. I think he'll be the 13th forward. I think it'll just be interesting when Greenway comes back. What they do there, but there's always going to be other injuries. But I'm with you on the Rosen stuff. I mean, that was something that Christian and I were talking about as you were trying to figure out how to get back in here. I understand. Like, I understand he's probably not the player you want in that role, in terms of skill set and experience. But man, just give him a look in camp for God's sake. I mean, Zach Benson, his first training camp. I mean, look, he had a baller training camp. He was playing with Tage Thompson and Jeff Skinner right out of the gate. Like, they gave him every and it was on the first power play unit. Like, they gave him every opportunity to earn his spot. And, Yuri Kulik, not as much. I mean, he was very, they kind of took him through the same process. He was on the outside looking in. And last season, it was really only because of injury and Cousins shitting the bed, and then overall just the season being over, that Kulik was able to ascend up in the lineup. But even then, like they trusted him pretty quickly last season, and with Isak Rosen, he has not ever, I think, received that opportunity. I was telling Christian, I went back and looked. His overall ice time between his combined 15 games of NHL experience, he's averaged like 930 like time on ice. Like Noah Ostlund, when he was up last season, was averaging like 1030 time on ice. Like he, even in that little stint, he was getting more looks with Beck Malenstein and Sam Lafferty. And Isak Rosen has just never gotten that look. And it's just like, can I just see it? Like if it doesn't, like I'm fully at this point, yeah, I'm kind of expecting it not to work. It's been a long time. I still think there's an NHL player in Rosen, but let me just see it. Like this is the same. It kind of feels kind of reminiscent of the Peyton Krebs thing. Look, I don't think he's a third line center, but like let's give him a look. And you kind of miss that window, and now he's pigeonholed as a fourth line center. So I get it. Like I'm probably at this point, most people don't really care to give Rosen a chance. I just feel like this is the time you spent a first round asset on the guy 5 years ago. If you give him the preseason and just see how it goes, see how he looks in that role, instead of I get the role Geertsen is being geared up to be put in, should he make the roster. But like we know what it's going to look like. It's going to be 6-7 minutes, super sheltered ice time. And he's there to back up the guys if anybody gets hurt. That we know that. Even if that's your plan, just you don't. Like, Geertsen doesn't need to get looks with the NHL guys if that's your plan. Like Josh Dunn played I think at least one NHL game last year, and he got in a fight and he played like 6-7 minutes. Like I understand that's probably the role Geertsen's going to be in. Like he doesn't need to be taking potential looks away from Rosen or Ostlund. Like let's see if they can do it. See if they can start in that fourth line role and work their way up. But that's just my super long tangent about it. TLDR, just I would like to see him get a chance.
I agree. I kind of feel for the player too. I mean, he has his best season as a pro last year, and he's not even getting a look with the NHL roster. I mean, like you said, he was in MVP talks, and then he was kind of like brought up with the Sabres, and then once he returned, he never really returned to form. I think it just messed up his rhythm and his momentum, but he's never gotten that chance. So I agree with you. I at least give him a chance. I don't have high expectations for him anymore. I don't think there's a spot for him in the top 9, which I think that's where you ideally want him playing. He just never really got that one chance to try and run away with it.
All right. Last sort of thing, as if I haven't, feels like I've already been pretty negative already. We're one training camp week into the season, and I already have a lot to say. But the power play units were the last sort of thing assembled here. And, before I give my take, I'm sure you can tell what type of take it's going to be in. Just tell me what you think. So, as a refresher, the first unit is going to be kept the same as last season. Rasmus Dahlin quarterbacking, Thompson on the left, Norris on the right, Tuck playing bumper, and Jason Zucker in front of the net. The second unit has Owen Power quarterbacking, Jack Quinn on the left, Kulik on the right, Josh Doan in front, and Bowen Byram in the bumper.
That 2 defense power play 2 is very interesting. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time he really had 2 defensemen out there, and I think at one point last year, I kind of advocated for it just to try it since, our power play sucked. So I'm really not opposed to it. I do find it interesting. He's kind of like in the bumper spot. Like, I don't know if I've ever heard of a defenseman being in that bumper spot. It's usually either the quarterback or on one of the hashes.
Or
Um,
or if your name's Rasmus Ristolainen,
well,
you're going in front of the net.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah, you're
he's
gonna
one of a
block. You're,
kind.
you're gonna screen for us, buddy.
Yeah, he's one of a kind. I don't in front of the net. I think that's going to be fun. I personally, I don't think Tuck is like my favorite power play guy. Like he's always like locked in onto that top unit. I don't think he's ever really done anything crazy on the power play. I'm not mentioning one name because I'm just gonna let Jonah talk about that. But
Why is
the
Zach
rest of it
Benson
kind of
not
does
on this?
make
I'm sorry
sense.
to cut you off. Why is he? Not,
Yeah,
Why is he not on either unit? It makes zero sense. It
yeah.
makes zero sense. Like, why are you so determined to make Bowen Byram on the power play work?
I think for me, at the end of the day, I feel like they were very hard headed about their groups last year, and everyone was banging their head against the wall because it just wasn't working. And we started to see a few tweaks here and there. For me, at this point, it's less about personnel and more about philosophical shift, if there is any. That's what I'm hoping to see. Hope. There it is. Play the boom. That's what I'm hoping to see. But knowing this,
There are two hopes. We got to come up with. That's going to be a different sound effect, but that's what we're working with for now.
I think what Christian is saying is definitely fair, though, because it's like obviously our power play sucked last year, so I don't even know how much we should really be criticizing them for trying something new. But I agree, like Benson, who's on your top line, who's one of your only pure playmakers, should probably be on one of those units. We literally mentioned on this podcast how in his rookie season, when he didn't even make that NHL roster, he was on the top power play unit in preseason.
How
And
many
now he's not
first
even on a
line?
unit.
How many first line players in the NHL are not on either power play unit for their team?
I'm going to guess 0, but I'm going to say Jeff Skinner was one of those players who should have not been on the power play, but he was a top guy. So that's what makes it even more weird. They tried to force Jeff Skinner into a unit for years, and he was never good on the power play. And now Benson's like actually good on it, and they're not going to put him on it.
I bet you'll see him on one of the units at some point in time.
It's only a matter of time.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
yeah.
Why Bowen Byram in the bumper is so random. It's so random. I don't think his skill set warrants that.
But it just might work.
God. And I just like the first unit is just so whatever. Like, you're right, because at the end of the day, it really does not matter what the personnel is. Like, they've got the talent. They've always had the talent. Even if Zach Benson is not on either unit, like, these are a lot of talented hockey players. If their plan is to just shuffle the puck,
Just run it back.
Well, if their plan is just to shuffle the puck from Thompson to Dahlin to Norris, back to Dahlin to Tage for a one-timer, back to Dahlin to Norris for a one-timer, like we've watched that for the last, I mean, my God, dude, like we are getting close to saying 10 years of this, where it's you got a guy on the left flank, you got a guy on the right flank, and those are the only two guys touching the puck. I mean, more specifically, like at least since Victor Olofsson made his debut in 2019. For the last 6 years, like that has been the power play plan. That is literally it. And if you have nothing more to offer, it's gonna struggle. And I know from the scrimmage they didn't score on either of their two power play opportunities. I don't think somebody wrote down they didn't do much, which is like it's not surprising. It's really not surprising. And I know Tuck didn't play in the scrimmage, but still, like. It's dumb. It's really. I will not give an inch to this overall power play. It will not happen.
No,
Somebody
they don't deserve it.
Somebody replied to me the other day, like, don't you think you're being too negative? Like, about this power play, not a chance. It has
It sucked
it
on
has
paper.
derailed.
You see, just look at the easiest stats.
I think genuinely it definitely derailed 22-23. Obviously they finished as a decent power play, but that was only because Tage Thompson was left uncovered for like 3 months, and as soon as he started getting covered, they stunk. But like the 23-24, like Don Granato's last season coaching the team, if they have a good power play, they probably make the playoffs. Like that, it derailed that season, and it didn't derail last season, but they probably would have been like an 85-point team if they have a half decent power play. So no, I will not be budging at all on this unit. If the first unit looks bad opening night, I'm not gonna have a lot of faith. The second unit, I'll give some time to that. I don't like the idea of Byram being in that bumper. I don't like the absence of Benson, but I'm willing to give that some time to marinate. But yeah, I mean, the first unit is literally the same outside of Norris, but even then, Norris was on that unit the few games he played.
Is where it comes down to hopefully either the players figured something out or the coaching staff actually figured something out. But we didn't change any coaching staff, so I don't really have too much faith in it. So they don't deserve any bandwidth with the power play because it's been putrid the last few years. So, and that's why we've been so negative with Seth Appert, in the past year, because that was his one main thing and it was awful. The only other thing I'll say about the power play is the power play units do look better with Peterka off it. Peterka was not one of the guys who helped at all in the power play.
Who will be?
I will say atrocious, man.
Who will be the bad voodoo?
Awful.
Who will be the bad voodoo player? It started with Skinner. He passed the baton to Peterka. Who's next?
There's not going to be one.
Who's going to be annoyingly bad on it?
Bowen Byram in the bumper spot.
That's power play too, though. It's going to be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Norris because he's the Ottawa power play. It just their collection of players was perfect. You had Sanderson or Shabbat as your quarterback. You had Brady Tkachuk, who, other than his brother, might be the best net front player in the league. Drake Batherson, who's a really solid playmaker in the bumper. And then Tim Stützle is basically running the whole thing on his hash. Like, Norris was literally option number 5. And with the Sabres, he's probably number 3. And he's, like, the focal point, which, like, he probably shouldn't be. Or at least he shouldn't be the guy that they're definitely looking for. I don't think he's that money on the power play, so I don't think he's gonna be bad. I mean, he's a positive contributor on the power play. It's just like if they didn't make a philosophical shift, then it's gonna be more of the same, and they're gonna be fighting against themselves when they have the man advantage. Okay, I think that's everything. I think we covered everything that there is to cover regarding the team. Don't think we missed anything. Yeah. Preseason hockey, either tonight or it's already taken place. Sabres hockey's back. Tomorrow night against the Blue Jackets. Then Tuesday. Is Tuesday also the Blue Jackets? I think it is. Thursday is definitely in Detroit. Then Saturday is at home against Detroit. And then we'll probably be back to talk about those games next Sunday as well. So we'll be here to recap everything. Any final thoughts heading into this first week?
Buckle up. It's gonna be another roller coaster of a season. Hopefully.
Who will you be watching the most?
Like in preseason or just throughout the season?
Preseason.
Josh Norris probably. I haven't seen a lot of him, and we traded one of our really big assets for him, so I will definitely have him under a microscope going into this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Power Kesselring duo. Hopefully they have some good chemistry. I would throw Doan into there, but I'm confident in Doan's ability to play his role in this team. So I'm excited to watch him, but I'm not gonna be like looking out. I'm most interested in that second pair. Like that it pretty much that has to work or stuff gets
That's it.
thrown
Wrap it up.
out the window.
Wrap
Yeah,
it up.
like it will not be good.
Yep. Yeah, I'm probably just to pick something different. Interested to see how that line of Quinn, Kulik, and Doan, kind of how that looks when they're out there together. So yeah. Other than that, don't think there's anything else to really touch on. Thank you guys very much for listening. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at The Sabre Report, also on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Sabre Report. If you listen to this on YouTube, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to tell us what you thought down in the comments down below. You know, a lot of new information coming out this week. We'd love to hear your thoughts on everything and whether you agreed or disagreed. Yeah, if you want updates for the pod, you can follow us on at Sabre Report Pod on Twitter. Go give our friends over at the Buffalo Sports Talk podcast a listen. Bills are 3-0, looking like the team to beat once again. And their coverage on them is great as always. So stay tuned. They have not released an episode discussing the Thursday night's big win against the Dolphins. So keep an eye on that. Other than that, though, I think that's everything. Be sure to listen to Sabres versus the Atlantic. Get all caught up on that. Only got 2 episodes to go. Stretch run here. But yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you guys for listening. See you guys next time. And as always, go Sabres.
Go Sabres.
Go Sabres.